How's it going, guys? My name is Aussie Marcel, the most luscious locks on YouTube, and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing John Varvatos' Dark Rebel Rider, a fragrance for men. Now before I get on with the review, I'd just like to ask that if you like my content or any of my videos, just drop me a subscribe because it actually does help me out quite a bit. Now that I've got that out of the way, let's get on with the review. Dark Rebel Rider is a flanker of John Varvatos' Dark Rebel. It's an incredibly rich, leathery fragrance, and I would say that it does fall under the animalic category. It's got a dirty leather note. On the website, it's listed as Russian leather. I find that it is a more potent leather note than other fragrances that I've smelt. So for instance, Tom Ford's Ombre leather or Tuscan leather. This has a dirtier and more pronounced leather note than either of those fragrances. However, the performance, because it's an Eau De Toilette, isn't quite on the same level as those fragrances. But because of the actual profile of the scent, I do prefer this one. Just going to give you a look at the box here. The information. Now, I actually like this box, so I'm not going to kick it on the ground, unlike usual. And here is the bottle. It's got like a leather biker jacket sort of styling, so similar to what I'm wearing, I suppose. If you can't tell, I'm a big fan of the bottle. And there we go. This is Dark Rebel Rider for men. Right off the bat, if you put this up to your nose, you get leather, you get a bit of that sweeter amber base, and you get smoke. There's also a couple of herby notes in here as well. Frankincense being one of them, but the most obvious note to my nose is the leather. It smells like $1,000,000, honestly. This sort of leather note, this sort of dirty leather note, isn't on par with the dirtiness of, in terms of designers, let's say, Gucci Guilty Absolute. That is a much more dirty leather note. That is like old decaying leather and petrol. I love that fragrance as well. I'm going to do a review on it eventually. But this, while still being a dirty leather note, it's refined and it's leveled out quite nicely by some of the other sweeter notes here. This is a rich, woody, resinous fragrance. The thing I love most about this fragrance is that for somebody that wears a lot of leather and a lot of biker jackets like myself, it complements that so perfectly, and it's pretty obvious by the packaging and the bottle. Now, as the fragrance dies down, that leather becomes more pronounced, those resins become more pronounced, and so does the olivanum as well. It's a deep leather note. And for anyone that's a fan of more animalic fragrances, this might appeal to you quite a bit. It isn't a musky animalic fragrance, so just take that into consideration before you try it yourself. This is definitely going to be more for fans of leathery, earthy scents and animalic notes versus those dirty, musky animalic notes. But if you're just a fan of animalic fragrances in general, this still might be for you. Now, as with all John Varvatos fragrances, performance is good but not great. This lasts about 5 to 6 hours on my skin, which isn't bad, but this fragrance in particular, if you get it on your clothes, it will stay there for days. So if you want more longevity out of this when you buy it, definitely apply it to your clothes. I wore this fragrance yesterday and I can still smell it on my leather jacket. As far as being a crowd pleaser, this is definitely not a crowd pleaser. You know, for those that like incredibly masculine fragrances, I can see this appealing to them, But if you're in an office setting or a more sort of formal environment, I definitely wouldn't recommend wearing this unless you are completely confident in how you pull it off. Now, at the time, I purchased this from Chemist Warehouse for about $65. It's becoming incredibly hard to find, along with most other John Varvatos fragrances since they've gone into administration. So I've seen this particular bottle of fragrance, Dark Rebel Rider, go up on eBay for over $150 for 125 mils. But I've also seen it on the marketplace for significantly less than that. So just be careful when you're buying it. However, I love the fragrance so much I probably would pay 150 bucks for it. Well guys, that's about all I've got to say on Dark Rebel Rider for men. Have you ever worn this fragrance before? Let me know in the comments below. And until the next video, my name's Aussie Marcel, and I'll catch you guys around.